Story of Joe. My earliest memory. I was 3. This is what I remember. I don't remember the context, situations, or anything like that. I don't actually remember this happening, but I remember it happened. So, 3 lied about cleaning my bedroom. I lived in Augusta, Georgia, South Carolina. Not sure. We moved a lot when I was young. Lied about cleaning out underneath my bed. 3 years old. I just cleaned my room and shoved everything under the bed. For clarification, my mom had asked if that's what I did, if I shoved everything under the bed. I said no. I lied. Out in the garage, something. My dad was tinkering with something. He was always doing something, always trying to make his way. He was a good man. Nonetheless, did some bad things. But anyway, so I had lied, and I got caught. And my dad was not happy. To deserve what happened after that, I don't know. He picked me up. This is what I remember. I don't know if it even happened this way. Picked me up, threw me against the wall, split my head wide open. I remember dunking my head in the bathtub underneath running water under the spigot. Tell me it was my fault for lying, that my head was bleeding, and he was trying to get it to stop, I think. I don't know. I don't think I ever got over that. I probably stopped growing at the age of 3 at that moment when I realized you have no control over anything. Life hasn't gotten much better. Progressing forward. I remember being, again, South Carolina, Augusta, Georgia. Wanted to. I don't remember. I lived in both of those places. I just don't remember which one came first. So, you get birthday punches. One for every year. My 2 older brothers used to have to hold me while I took my punches. And we would all 3 fall down. There was a big chandelier that hung down to the floor. It was really weird. Again, my memory could be skewed. I was a child. We used to all fall into that. Moved back to Pittsburgh. I was born in Pittsburgh. We moved to Florida when I was 2. Very few memories. Scents. Smells. Something that I remembered from them. I seem to recall that my dad had a blue handle, not blue handle, blue wooden handle with a blue sickle at the bottom, which we used to go into we lived at Rainbow Lakes, Florida. There was a dock with a lake, I'm assuming, that we used to clear the brush out, things that would grow grass, tall grass, in the shallow, right at the shoreline. I remember doing that. I remember having a greenhouse. The smell of the greenhouse is something that I remember. And being in the garage with big bugs, like whatever bugs, palmettos, I don't know, whatever roaches or whatever that is. I don't know. It was in Florida, like I said, I was 2. So people that live in Florida would know the bugs I was talking about. They were like, again, I don't remember the name of them. I was 2 years old. Anyway, so 2 to that, to the head splitting. Sliding off of metal tin roofs, again in either Georgia or South Carolina, while my parents worked over at JB Distributors, which was a field across the way. That's where I learned how to ride a bike. We had a backyard. We had a yard that was separated by a fence, and on the left of that yard was a big field, a huge field. It looked like just tall grass again. I couldn't tell you. We used to have to cut a strip, one way up, one way back. But we had to cut a strip between the house and the distribution company that my dad, and I think my mom, obviously my mom had worked at it sometime. Maybe a secretary. I think my dad was a salesman. Again, don't know, real young. But what I recalled most about those days was digging. We used to make roadways in the dirt with like basketball cars and whatnot. We would dig holes and we put like plastic and liners in it and stuff for like little swimming pools and little bridges and underways. Me and my brothers played a lot. On the left side of the right side of that yard, and that was in the middle, was woods. There was some type of like 4 posts. It had like a roof in the middle of these woods, but it wasn't it was an open roof, so it was like lattice or something. I couldn't really recall. There used to be snakes and stuff over there. We were living in the South, so you know. But I remember those days. They were good days. I used to ride my bike with my brothers. I was a little guy, about 3 apples tall. I was the youngest of 3, and my dad had gotten us 20-inch pedal bikes. Now, mind you, I'm like 2 feet tall. Well, I couldn't reach. My brothers would ride their bikes around the house. I'd push mine. So I was telling you at the beginning of this that there was a yard outside of the house, and there was a fence, and there was like another yard, and behind that was some gate. I think some horses may have been raised, some type of pasture, if you will. But anyway, I used to get on the cinder block when I was by myself, and I'd get on this bike, and I would push off. I couldn't reach the pedals, so I couldn't hit the brakes. So I would smack into a fence that was separating those 2 yards to stop myself. I think I was around 5, 6, maybe. I don't know. I got beat a lot then, too. I remember getting beat a lot. I don't remember for what. That was where I got my head split open, so I was 3 to 5, maybe. So when we left there, we moved back to Pittsburgh, from what I understand, and I think we lived with my grandparents at the time. I lived in the attic with my 2 older brothers. After that, I think I was in 2nd grade then, so I went to a Catholic school. It was the only year we went. We didn't have a lot of money, and apparently you have to pay to go to Catholic school. I don't know nothing about these things, but apparently you did. After that, I went to a public school where I had to start making sure I could take care of myself. That was the first fight I ever got into on the bus. This kid, I don't remember his name. I remember punching this little black kid in the lip, about the same height as I was, but we were only in 3rd grade. I don't know what was going on. I punched him, blood everywhere on the bus. It's the first fight I ever got into. Things only went downhill after that. I got in a lot of trouble at school with fights. I mean, my dad was beating me. I had 2 older brothers, my brother Jonathan and Michael. I used to hang out with Michael. I looked up to him as my oldest brother. I used to play with my brother Jonathan until my brother Mike came along and he would steal me away. Well, poor brother John got left in isolation. He got beat a lot too. He got caught in a stolen car when we were in middle school. My dad beat him for about 45 minutes. So I remember being home from school that day, sick. I probably was faking it. But either way, I was home. And I remember my mom getting the phone call from the police that my brother Jonathan was at the police station. He was caught in a stolen car. She had to tell him. She did everything she could to protect us. She knew what was going to happen. He was going to get punished, and punishment in my household was pretty rough. So anyway, I went down and told him. He was in the basement working on something. So she said, "Go tell your father I need to talk to him." And he came up from the basement. I went and got him. She told him. Anyway, we went and picked him up. Brought him back home. My dad beat him for about 40, 50 minutes straight. He made him, everything that was in my brother's room, he gave to me. I had to keep all my brother's stuff. Well, he had nothing. He had to pay. He had to work with my dad to pay. Well, my dad owned his own plumbing or contracting business. Things were hard for us. We didn't have a lot of money. So we were very poor. So yeah,